charismatic main character with a devilishly interesting story, elaborate multi-threaded plot, advanced physics, deep narrative, innovative multiplayer modes, wonderful graphics and an atmospheric metropolis rich in details and filled to the brim with curiosities. The mentioned aspects are definitely only a part of the advantages of GTA 4. Considering all of the above, the question arises, is there any single possibility for the game to be a failure? As a person born in Slavic country who loves this kind of atmosphere, I believe not. But reality shows something completely different. There are plenty of people like me who love GTA 4, but there are just as many, if not more, opponents of this game. Why does GTA San Andreas, despite being 19 years old, still enjoy popularity, while GTA 4, despite being newer and fresher, seems somewhat forgotten? But before that, I'd like to mention this epic gaming news site called xgamer.gg. You can find here many information on what's going on in the industry and what's most important, GTA 6 info. If you're interested in any topics like latest news on GTA 6 or my own personalized topic, you can follow to never fall behind and always be up to date. You can also create your own personalized topic and select from content sources of over 300 different gaming news websites. Here we can find many articles from the biggest players like IGN or GameRant and many more. Another advantage of this website is huge amount of guides for video games. If you're interested, link to this website is in the description, and let's get back to the video. Since the beginning of GTA series, the creators have accustomed us to certain patterns. When we look at the GTA games, we can observe a certain style. During the gameplay of GTA 4, we can see that the creators decided to deviate from this type of gameplay. If you had the opportunity to play 2D and 3D universe GTA installments, you might have noticed a certain arcade feel. I'm specifically referring to a particular style of the presented world. Characters look somewhat cartoonish and caricaturated, and the same can be said about the world in which we can move. After all, it's not every day in video games that we can escort people rescued from the water by helicopter to the hospital. As for arcade gameplay, we can definitely add driving to that category as well. The driving was very simple and undemanding, there were no unnecessary obstacles that challenged the player on the roads, and despite its simplicity, driving cars was simply enjoyable. However, the creators of the series decided to go for something completely different in GTA 4. The entire infrastructure and architecture were scorched and realized. There were also missing contrasting shades on the street, and the city from a joyful resort full of long sunny beaches turned into a depressing, dirty grey metropolis. The same happened with the characters, they lost their cartoonishness and look much more serious now. It's hard to find contrasting elements among many of them. The driving model of cars and motorcycles personally doesn't bother me, and I can confidently say that I like it because unlike in the previous installments, it challenges the player. It is much more realistic, cars sway on turns and at high speeds it's easy to lose control. All of this makes players have quite different opinion on this matter. For many players, the driving model just turned out to be a really people criticize the sluggishness of cars, the ease of sliding on the road, and the long braking time. All of this makes players often prefer to travel by taxi to get to their designated destinations, and the same goes for the motorcycles because two-wheelers are incredibly unstable. So one wrong move can result in the main character's skull meeting a nearby fire hydrant. Alright, but let's talk for a moment about the world in GTA 4. The creators have accustomed us to the idea that with each new game, the map gets larger and larger. In GTA 4, the world just seems to be a bit small, considering that players got used to vast landscapes in GTA San Andreas, and that each installment in the series received a progressively larger map. The size of the world in GTA 4 was a huge surprise. Even though the world was very atmospheric and filled with curiosities, there is a kind of dissatisfaction that we felt. Initially, the game was supposed to be expanded with suburban areas, something resembling the countryside areas in San Andreas, but ultimately the plan fell through and we got what we got. Another thing that changed in the GTA installment represented by number 4 is the gameplay elements created purely for fun. We're talking about aspects of gameplay in the game that remind us that we are in a city where we can literally do anything. Because in other games from the 3D Universe series, you could do a lot. There was no shortage of things to do in Vice City or San Andreas. Activities were truly diverse and often exaggerated, adding charm to the overall experience and once again emphasizing its arcane nature. In GTA Vice City Stories, Rockstar seamlessly integrated many activities into the game's atmosphere. For example, the mentioned before air rescue, where we rescued the local population from distress, or the so-called water sports, where we rode jet skis. Rockstar could have drawn valuable lessons from this and could have designed some interesting activities in GTA 4 that would fit perfectly into the atmosphere of the grey metropolis of Liberty City. Moreover, you could feel like you were in a real sandbox, because the main character could traverse the city in a tank, fly with a jetpack or a jet plane, walk around the city with a minigun, kill whoever you want and be an unstoppable criminal. The creators got us used to the idea that in each subsequent installment, there are more and more of these things. The same applied to vehicles. Previous installments got us used to airplanes, and tanks were an integral part of the game. However, in GTA 4, the streets seem barren when it comes to imaginative means of transportation. The roads are mainly dominated by taxis, there is a lack of tanks, and the only flying vehicle available is a helicopter. Since there are no tanks, it means there's also no place to steal them from, because in Liberty City there isn't even a single military base. The creators, aiming to support the major storyline and a series Liberty City, opted for a more realistic approach. Minor entertainment elements such as minigames or side activities were less elaborate than in some previous titles. For those who appreciate the diversity of such activities, the lack of elaborate additions could be disappointing. Also, something I strongly remember from 3D and 2D universe is memorizing cheat codes. I think every fan of the series has entered codes like ASACME or various cheats that often amusingly change the gameplay, for example making our cars able to swim or fly. GTA 4 for some reason departed from this practice that it got us used to in previous installments. In the game, of course, cheat codes appear, but they don't change gameplay elements. The ones that do appear usually relate to changing the weather or spawning vehicles. Another significant mistake in the first installment of HD Universe is the changes in customization. It's a bit strange that Rockstar Games 4 years earlier in GTA San Andreas presented us with freedom in character and vehicle customization. We could dress our character however we wanted and modify cars to our liking. Car customization was quite advanced, and when compared to GTA 4 it looked even better. And yes, of course, there was some character customization in GTA 4, as we could nevertheless visit clothing stores to dress Nico, but the options for his appearance were quite limited. Additionally, we couldn't even influence Nico's hairstyle, weight or muscularity. And again, something that once again disappoints the gaming community is the absence of safe houses and businesses available for purchase in the game. The developers once again forgot to implement something that they had already done in the previous installments like Vice City or San Andreas, which was in fact a great addition. What's even stranger is that the storyline of GTA 4 nevertheless presents Nico, who very much wants to break free from the criminal underworld, and he has a cousin who may be a bit unsuccessful but is still a businessman. Purchasing businesses would fit seamlessly into the narrative, and all of this boils down to the fact that without the ability to customize characters and vehicles, and the absence of options to buy businesses and safe houses, there simply isn't much to spend money on in the game. And of course, we can occasionally engage in activities like playing darts with Roman or another friend. Unfortunately, this is basically all we can spend our money on. Arguably, what turned off players the most were the massive technical problems at the game's launch. This case reminds me of Cyberpunk 2077, where the beauty of the game and the expensive world were overshadowed by scandals related to the game's optimization. Attempting to play GTA 4 at the beginning was kind of like flipping a coin. Sometimes it worked phenomenally on outdated hardware, and on more powerful configurations it was a slideshow, and it frustrated players who had purchased the new hardware specifically for the release of new Grand Theft Auto. The state of optimization for this game is even evident in today's benchmarks on powerful systems, and what's strange, Rockstar Games is now well known for very good game optimization. After all, GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 run smoothly on older configurations. Moreover, even today we can encounter issues related to playing GTA 4. The most notorious example in this regard is the final mission, where players have to change the processor's affinity to reduce the frame rate just to be able to complete the mission at all. And I probably don't need to mention that installing the game itself is a challenge. The inclusion of the infamous Games for Windows Live has made installing the game a time-consuming process. And if you want to play GTA 4 online, well, it's a whole different story. Because yeah, GTA 4 Online was based on the now defunct agreement with Games for Windows Live, making it impossible to play it today. The situation is so lamentable that ordinary players have to come to the game's rescue by creating various modifications to fix it. Rockstar seems to have a knack for ruining well-promising projects, as GTA 4 Online was treated similarly to Red Dead Online. Here we have a few classic game modes such as deathmatches, races, some few more bad missions, and that's about it, that's all. In my opinion, this is a significant mistake by Rockstar, because the multiplayer mode could have easily dominated the market and could have been as lucrative as GTA Online in GTA 5. But returning to the single player, more precisely to the story, something that I personally appreciated and I'm a huge fan of is the heaviness of the narrative in GTA 4. The game truly prompts the player to reflect and makes him think everything through. And although I personally enjoyed it, and I know there are many people worldwide who share my opinion, it raises the question of whether people play Grand Theft Auto precisely for that reason, to feel overwhelmed by the difficult story. Additionally, there is a certain ambiguity in the message conveyed by the game's creators. GTA 4 tries to present Nico as a good protagonist, casting him in a positive light. However, the entire game is centered around murdering people for money, therefore we can observe certain inconsistencies in this portrayal. But to sum up, the game developers approached the project with great ambition, aiming to change the course of the series from a colorful shooter to an atmospheric production with a serious message filled with morals. They invested everything in creating the most realistic game possible, which in some cases resulted in completely opposite effects. Additionally, they approached the optimization of the game too casually, which threw a wrench in the works from the very beginning and made it difficult for the game to gain acceptance in the market. Let us know in the comments what you think about GTA 4, do you like this title and what made you like it or not. Also remember to check out xgamer.gg for the best gaming news. Cheers!